video is for all of my first-time home buyers and step-up buyers. So if you're a real estate investor, then you can stop watching this video right now and instead use the next few minutes to do today's Wordle. I've been taking a lot of applications lately where the people get pre-qualified, they go out and look at a few houses with their realtors, and then they fall off the face of the earth. Then, when I go to follow up with them later to see where they're at, they tell me that they've put their home search on pause. And a lot of times when I ask why, they tell me, we're gonna wait until next year when home prices come down. And I pause. And I'll ask, what makes you think that home prices are going to come down next year? Well, my parents who haven't bought a house in 25 years said that the market is about to crash, or I read an article on bsinternetnews.com that said that the market is going to crash. Nobody can predict the future, but according to leading economists and aggregators, the chances of house values being higher this time next year is much more likely than values being lower. Instead of always trying to time the market, buyers need to take a look inward and look at their own situation. The question, is now a good time to buy a house, really depends on your own circumstances. Are you at a place in your life where you're ready to put down roots and settle in the same town for a few years? Do you have money saved up? Do you want to be a homeowner? Are you ready to take on that responsibility? Are you maybe having a growing family? If the answers to these questions are yes, then I think it's a good time to buy a house. But Justin, we've been on Zillow and we're seeing all of these price reductions. How can that be if the market isn't declining? Well, that's a good question. And the answer is really simple. A lot of sellers are still trying to push the envelope on their asking prices. They saw how much home values appreciated during the pandemic, and they're trying to maintain that trajectory. That's not happening anymore. Home values are not rising 20% per year. It's really starting to normalize. And instead of looking at asking prices, because any imbecile can ask whatever they want for anything, it's much more important to consider actual closed sales. Same thing applies to the baseball card market. You know, Joe Blow can list his third-year Ken Griffey Jr. card on eBay for $10,000, not paying any attention that the last 100 sales of that card have ranged between 50 cents and $2. And when some newbie logs onto eBay to check the value of their card, they see this one guy asking $10,000 and they think that their card is worth a fortune. That's not how it works. And that's not how it works in real estate either. In fact, I would say the market today is much more favorable for buyers. Again, this time last year, you would get laughed at if you tried to negotiate with a seller. But today I'm starting to see sellers negotiating, paying buyers' closing costs, providing home warranties, allowing for reasonable inspection periods. And that's not to say that now is a good time for everybody to become a homeowner, because that's just not the case. And that's okay. But if you're at a place where you're ready to buy a house and you want to make that leap, do it. Don't try to time the market. And the same thing goes for interest rates. If you think that interest rates are going to come down a year from now, buy today and refinance into the lower rate later. It's really that simple. And even if home values do come down a little bit, so what? Did you know that there's never been a point in American history where home values were lower than they were 10 years prior? My point is if you're buying in a house to live in as your primary residence, you're gonna be there for the next 7, 10, 15 years. So by the time you're ready to sell, your house will have recovered its value. What's the alternative? Spending money on rent? That's 100% interest, and you build zero equity.